surely you must be recognized from time to time, if not quite frequently. Are they sort of fearful of approaching you?
Sometimes.
And do you like that?
I rarely leave the house.
What was by the way, he's not joking. But what did that woman say to you in the grocery store in Atlanta?
You my baby daddy. I said, no, I'm not. And it was she was about a 90-year-old, very large African-American grandmother, and she followed me around in her motorized vehicle throughout the store, and finally I got to checkout, and she said, you my baby daddy. And I said, no, I'm not. And we were all laughing. She said, yes, you is. You my baby daddy. And I'm like, no, you have to call my lawyer. I'm not your baby daddy.
It's a whole Billie Jean, Michael Jackson situation.
Fantastic.
The kid is
Worth
not
it.
your son.
Worth it.
One of many Billie Jean, Michael Jackson situations that John finds himself in over the course of the day.
That's so funny, and I would imagine that you were also, in addition to Stan, are getting a lot of recognition from You're the Worst as well.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I play a really horrible person on You're the Worst, and I think
Who isn't?
And who isn't? It's a competition to see who the worst is. But I experienced something similar to what I have witnessed that I didn't think about until I was seeing it happen to someone else, which is that people who love Johnny's work are intimidated, but they can't stop themselves from still saying something because they respect him so much and it's exciting. So I see people come up and I see how nervous they are. But in my mind, I think like, oh, if I loved somebody who always played people I would be intimidated by, I think that would extend to me not saying anything to the actor.
Oh, totally.
And people can't help themselves. And so I'll see someone come up and sort of like, and then they muster up the courage and they say, I just have to tell you, I really love your work. I really love your work. And then they wince, like they're waiting for some response. And then Johnny, of course, is incredibly gracious and says, thank you very much. And the person has this look of relief on their face. And I've had that happen with You're the Worst, where people tell me that they love the show and that they love my character, and then they look suspiciously at me as though they're expecting me to be Becca and just be a complete. And when I'm not, they look at me with suspicion. Like, oh, now you're acting.
Right.
Now the nice person, that's your nice act. Like, oh, great, terrific.
Right. They're waiting for one of the Bill Lawrence or Dana Gould installs to fly
that's
forth.
right.
And I always wonder how you come up with those. I mean, God, some of them are just terrible.
The best ones are just things my dad said that I write down. I'm not lying. I mean, Stan.
Said to you?
Or other people. Yes.
Don't 1 foot on a banana.
Yeah, when my grandmother was passing, my dad called me up and said, better get your ass on a plane. Your grandmother's got 1 foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel. Talking about his mother. You know,
So
it's
this
like,
is where you get your pathos and your humor.
yeah, no, it's you know, it's like, as George Carlin said on Class Clown, there's no laughter like when you're kneeling in front of the casket. You know, the best laughter is suppressed laughter, and it's an Irish thing, I think. But yeah, no, Stan is my dad, and the whole premise of the show is, what if I just wrote a horror show and put my dad in the middle of it, and there was just a character in the middle that everybody had to deal with that didn't really belong in that world, and it was a really simple idea.
You were finally ready to deal with your dad issues.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I was like, it
Based
took you
on
that
this
long
conversation.
because you were ready to do it.
They paid for themselves.
Wouldn't have been ready to do it when you were 28 years old. You would have had a completely different, and we wouldn't have gotten all those years of The Simpsons. And
That's true. Well, I
Scrubs
think
and
you'd have
Dinner
done
and a
fine.
Movie.
You'd have done fine without me on this.